All right, today we are diving into a pretty wild theory that comes straight from our source material. We're talking about something called the white card, which is supposedly a key that can unlock, get this, limitless credit directly from the US Treasury. I mean, just think about that for a second. What if you could have a financial tool with absolutely no spending cap? That very idea is at the core of the incredible story we're about to unpack. So, right out of the gate, our source, a speaker named David, makes this extraordinary claim. He's comparing this white card to some of the most exclusive, high-end credit cards on the planet. The big question, of course, is how in the world did he get to this point? Well, believe it or not, according to David, this whole quest didn't start in some financial institution or a brokerage firm. Nope. It all began with what he calls a deeply traumatic experience in his public high school. So he lays out this timeline of what he saw as a growing conflict. He claims that from the very beginning, back in 2012, he was met with a hostile environment from the staff. By 2014, he says it had led to major depression. And get this, a really bizarre physical feeling, like being hit in the head by a taser. And in a strange twist, he now believes that sensation was caused by a financial instrument, something we're going to get into in just a bit. Now, the language he uses here is absolutely crucial to understanding his point of view. He's not just talking about bullying or being mistreated. He specifically alleges that he was the target of what he calls acts of genocide by people working at the school. And he gets very specific about what he means by these acts. He includes things like fabricating a medical diagnosis, what he terms custodial kidnapping, and even using the court system as a weapon against him. This whole experience really became the bedrock for his entire worldview. So, as you can probably imagine, this conflict with the school system just kept escalating, and eventually it led to a period where he was incarcerated. But for David, this wasn't the end of his story. In fact, it was the start of a completely new kind of education. He has this really unique way of describing his time in custody. He calls it an abandoned computer theory of incarceration. It really drives home his belief that the entire system that was holding him was, in his view, illegitimate, like it was just running on some flawed automated program without any real authority over him. So while he was in custody, he basically gave himself a crash course in all these alternative legal and sovereign citizen theories. The source material points to these four big influences: Moorish science, the works of Roger Elvik and Jean Keating, and even international treaties, as the real building blocks for his new way of seeing the legal and financial world. Okay, so how does all this history, this conflict, this self-education, how does it all connect back to an unlimited credit card? Well, from all these theories, he pieced together a specific mechanism, a process he believes can unlock a system of credit that's owed to every single citizen. At the very heart of his theory is this thing he calls the DTCC lien. He believes it's a kind of security interest placed on a person's physical body. And remember that bizarre taser feeling he mentioned from high school? Yeah, he believes this is what was causing it, some kind of external financial force that was influencing people and events around him. So if the DTCC lien is the lock, what's the key? Well, according to him, it's this very specific IRS form, the 1099 OID. Now, usually this form has to do with debt instruments, but in his world, it becomes the tool you use to tell the Treasury about your originating credit and kick off the whole process of getting it back. All right, so he's got his theory, he's got his supposed key. What are the actual steps he lays out for getting your hands on this white card? Okay, let's break down the four-step process he lays out. Step 1, open a Treasury Direct account. Step 2, you electronically file that 1099 OID form with the IRS. Step 3, the Treasury then supposedly wires that credit, and this is important, not as cash, but as a security, a certificate of indebtedness, into your account. And finally, step 4, you take that security to a brokerage firm, and they are the ones who issue you the card. And this slide really gets to the core of his whole idea. He's arguing that this isn't about getting a bunch of cash or Federal Reserve notes dumped into your bank account. It's a completely different system. The entire process, he says, operates in the world of securities. The credit is held as a bond, and when you buy something, it's settled against the value of that bond. So you go through all of that. What's the end result? What's the tangible outcome? What do you actually get to hold in your hand? The final prize is what's known as a cash management access card, or a CMA card, that you get from a brokerage. And this, according to the source, is the physical white card itself. And the features he describes are pretty incredible, right? He claims it has no preset spending limit, it works just like a normal credit card when you're buying groceries or gas, and the crucial part is, the balance gets settled directly from those securities you supposedly reclaimed from the Treasury. No actual cash is ever involved in the process. And you can really feel his sense of victory in this quote. He talks about filing paper documents for years that he claims were just ignored. So for him, to finally see that 1099 OID credit pop up on the official IRS website, well, that was the ultimate proof. He calls it pure art. So when you boil it all down, David presents this whole story not as some weird personal loophole he found, but as a completely legitimate, safe, and repeatable method for anyone out there to reclaim what he believes is their own inherent credit. And that's what it all comes down to, right? Is this some hidden secret to financial freedom that's been right under our noses the whole time? Or is it an incredibly elaborate story built on a foundation of fringe legal theories? Our source laid out his case, and now the conclusion is up to you.